I mean, we ADC players have all been there at some point. The game feels absolutely hopeless. Not only does the level 1 go completely awry and your support gets chunked by the enemy and instantly loses the lane for you, but also your own team plays it so poorly that the enemy mid laner goes out of lane with 9 kills legendary, a Katarina of all things, so one-shotting AD carries left and right under normal circumstances. But this Kai'Sa player here, the Kai'Sa player we're looking at today, they need to fight with an enormous disadvantage, but they still managed to carry a challenger lobby. Let's look at it. Okay, so the lane phase, as I stated, is more or less over at this point. Sona is way too low to do anything. Tristana and Senna have infinite pressure on Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa really must try to find ways to get CS without losing health herself. By the way, in case you just want to know, or the main thing you care about is this challenger player's runes and items, here you go, so you don't have to sift through the video. But we're interested in how they manage to still carry, to still have impact, despite having a bad team. It's such a common problem for AD carry players, because, I mean, you only need to look at Reddit for, I don't know, 5 minutes to find posts from ADC mains who complain that their role would have no impact, they couldn't do anything in the game, that the game would be decided by the solo lanes, the enemy fed assassins just one-shotting them over and over. You know the drill. But in this case, we have the I don't want to say blueprint, because you can't really approach League of Legends with a formulaic approach, but yeah, as we can see, it's already starting. The jungler dies to the Katarina first blood. Nothing blue team could have done there, so normally you would like to help your jungler in a situation like this, but after this level 1, when you're stuck on the tower, you don't really have this option. You don't have lane priority, and following would just lead to a lose-lose situation for you, because you're guaranteed to miss farm, which in the early levels means you also miss out on experience, and that's just asking to lose, because then the snowball starts, really. And here, gank, but nothing really happens to blue team, because they're, well, in this case, fortunately, already stuck under tower, but still an awful situation to be in. They're under so much pressure, and Kai'Sa, Kai'Sa scales, so at least you have that going. If you can find the CS, find the last hits in a situation like this, you will be fine, because you will get your items. But what this player really does, and what I think they do beautifully, is they play it safe while they have to. In some situations it's obvious, this one for example, but as soon as they find an opening, they capitalize fully, and it's the only way to carry. You need to be a counterbalance to your to your teammates when they're playing badly, because they won't be able to carry the game for you. The enemy will carry the game for their team if you let that happen. So right now, just farming. They opt for, well, with this Kai'Sa, they opt for an AP build still with Lethal Tempo. We've seen Hail of Blades for quite a bit now, but Lethal Tempo is still quite strong. Yet with this AP approach, they're also getting a lot of control, right? So if the game's snowballing against you, the main problem is that all lanes are pushing in and pressuring your towers, and you can't really rotate. But AP Kai'Sa has good wave clear, so that will certainly help there too. And the main reason for this is, by the way, a static shiv, in case you wonder. But yeah, I mean, in this situation right here, all they can do is farm and try to get their items as fast as possible. And they're stuck doing so for however long it takes for the situation to resolve itself. You either try to, I don't know, it's really dire. In a situation like this, most AD carries would just already tilt and, I don't know, blame their support for the poor level 1 play. Enemy getting plating after plating, nothing you can really do. But I mean, you just gotta be stubborn, you just gotta keep farming and keep getting your experience, which is the most important part. Here, another Katarina dive, Sona dies. The teleport might be okay. Actually, the kill on Katarina here, but as we know, she will bounce back quite a bit. Anyway, Kai'Sa, now that the situation calls for it, she actually switches gears, ignoring the wave, and starts attacking the enemy champions. They are kind of low, they took damage from Zed here, and Katarina, most important, the most dangerous enemy at this point, is dead. So you can try to press the, well, I don't want to call it advantage, but we do use all our spells on the enemy champions here, and Talon actually goes down. Now with a fully stacked Lethal Tempo, Kai'Sa is actually quite dangerous, And yep, here we see the first kill going down. And maybe we even catch this Senna. So again, you were completely passive while you were stuck under tower with nothing happening. But you must be able to flip that switch instantly as soon as your team gives you even the slightest opportunity of counterplay. Here the Z teleport was very important, and had Kai'Sa not reacted, this play would have gone horribly awry. So now we're in a 1v2 situation in lane. This Tristana thinks she's being sneaky and can surprise Kai'Sa here, but the ward allowing her to react instantly to the threat, killing her, punishing her for the low HP stat. Again, punishing the opponent's mistakes when they happen is super crucial. If you just sit there passively all the time, instead of looking for mistakes you can punish, you won't be making much progress. But here, Kai'Sa on 3 kills actually. At this point it looks kind of good for blue team. The early kills for Katarina, not really too important, but I mean, as you saw from the intro, well, it's about to get kind of crazy in the mid game. Anyway, Kai'Sa has now completed her static shiv, makes wave clear a little easier, especially against Tristana, who will, in all other cases, just push under tower ad nauseam, instantly using that power spike. Tristana, no completed item, Kai'Sa 1 completed item, so you're naturally stronger, and Kai'Sa is looking to take full advantage here. Again, seeing these tiny details, well, it's actually not a small detail, but especially for low elo players, it's often overlooked. You have the item advantage, the enemy, oh god, the Katarina, the snowball starts, punishing blue team's play here. Yeah, Z goes down, but Kai'Sa quick to realize that this is a golden opportunity for another engage, using the gold she just got from the fight prior with to fight Tristana with item advantage here. In any case, back to laning we go, and Katarina is staring her down in her lane. Yeah, at this point, I mean, this is, especially in low elo, players get overconfident fairly quickly. After a play like this, they think they can fight anyone. They would try to look to fight the Katarina as well. Don't do that. Katarina has 4 kills and has more champion levels than you. Yeah, exactly. It's so tempting. Senna level 5 only, level 6, level 7, but going in there against this Katarina is just asking for trouble, which is why Kai'Sa chooses to not do it here. She just clears the wave with Q and with static shiv and looks to get that base off to stay as safe as possible. She's not yet in the position to take on this, well, not hyper-fed quite yet, but this assassin who's starting to get fed in the mid-game and snowballing the late game. You don't want that snowball to roll even faster. You don't want to take that fight when it's not 100% in your favor. Alright, back in lane, now with finished boots as well. Same strategy, just clearing the wave. Nothing special. You wait for the enemy to make mistakes on which you can then capitalize. And you need to be careful about which enemies are making those mistakes. Tristana and Senna at this point are actually quite a pushover despite getting that unfair lead level 1. And they have chosen to ignore bot lane for now, which is kind of smart. They're playing around their fed Katarina, putting even more pressure on the struggling teammates for Kai'Sa. And mid lane tower disadvantage, this is a big one. This opens up the entire jungle for red team. Blue team now struggling to, or will struggle to make rotations happen in the mid game here. This is kind of dangerous. Pressuring Tristana under tower, yeah, sure, but again, with a lack of vision from mid lane tower, this can go wrong very quickly. But they still decide to stay. They know they're not standing on a ward thanks to Sona's sweeper. So they're trying to set up a trap for Tristana. Okay, Kai'Sa just interested in wave clearing. I'm figuring, I don't know, this is kind of dangerous. This is actually a play I would recommend to not make. Yeah, exactly. You don't have any vision. They're all coming for you. Kai'Sa might die for her mistake, but Sona might also be able to bail her out, barely. Oh, goodness. She is so lucky. Yeah, that was a mistake, that play. I recommend to not make this play yourself, but in this case, our Kai'Sa player got lucky and they get away with their life. But this makes the situation kind of worse, right? Because the enemy gets more kills, and now it's not only Katarina who is starting to look dangerous, but Tristana on 2 kills now as well. But the 5 kills Katarina, of course, the end boss in this game. Anyway, Kai'Sa now having based is working towards some AP items, but no major purchases here. I guess the next item is Nash's Tooth. I don't quite remember from the top of my head what they're building, but I guess Nash's Tooth and then AP Mythic That's the only logical sequence, because Nashor synergizes so nicely with Kai'Sa's kit. But you're already feeling the pressure, and the score is still in blue team's favor, but you need to keep the towers in mind, and mid lane tower difference is so huge. Bot lane, the team now completely ins into Katarina and Senna and Tristana. It's starting to look quite bad. The tower disadvantage translates into a gold disadvantage fairly quickly. Kai'Sa, however, tried to punish Senna here. Kinda risky because Katarina is still nearby, yet Kai'Sa's disengage. Good enough to deal with the situation in time, but you need to be so careful. This recall is super important. You can't ever stay here and try to greed for anything, because if you get that, you're worth a shutdown at this point. If you give that shutdown to Katarina as well, she's just running away with the game, no problem. And not even purchasing any items for this base. Yeah, so the base solely to stay full health. So Katarina or any of the assassins, Talon or Malphite or even Tristana. So none of these can just burst you down as easily. But the main issue here is right now the mid lane tower difference. I can't stress this enough. You need to try to equalize for mid lane towers as fast as possible, so you get some map pressure back and the enemy can't just roll over you. But against Tristana it's quite difficult, because Tristana defends towers super well due to her innate wave clear. Anyway, it's essentially the push past river roam strategy, but not really past river, but rather push past jungle path roam. So you want to keep the waves in check, at the same time not give the enemy assassins opportunities to reach you, and keeping your farm as high as possible. So that's what Kai'Sa is doing right now, and it works so far. I mean, if you want to look at this situation, the Zed is horribly overextended against his fed mid lane counterpart, dies instantly. Blue team loses even more pressure, red team takes the dragon. So, I mean, Kai'Sa is farming, but, well, her teammates' performance makes this game incredibly more difficult, losing objectives now too. But again, that's beyond your circle of influence. You need to try to play as well as you can, but you can't make your teammates play any better. So Kai'Sa's still sticking to the plan. She knows she can't do anything about this when she's at a numbers disadvantage and against a hyper-fed Katarina. So you just gotta keep the gold coming in some way. Push past river or push the wave to a reasonable distance and then try to get your jungle if possible. Yeah, it's getting rough, because this lack of control, this lack of vision also translates to, which is the biggest point, translates to loss of control over your jungle. And thereby the gold difference between blue team and red team will grow more and more. We see a 3k difference already. And this is not getting better over time. But again, if Kai'Sa gets enough gold, if she gets her items, eventually it won't matter, because then she can just start solo carrying. This is kind of a dangerous situation so far out in the mid lane with no tower to fall back on, but she really wants to push this wave in. Kinda risky, kinda risky. She needs to, yeah, she disengages immediately. Now hitting this tower, another typical low elo mistake. In this situation, hitting this tower would get you killed instantly, because just Malphite could ult over here if he's there. I mean, he pathed topside because, well, nobody was there to punish. But again, it's just, you're just asking for trouble. But again, by continuously wave clearing, sure, you will lose some objectives, like dragons, for example. But by taking away, or by turning down the speed, the tempo of the game, getting a more quiet game in general. I mean, okay, I mean, who am I kidding? Katarina now destroying blue team even more because they don't follow the plan. But by trying to slow down the game as much as possible, you're also buying your teammates time to catch back up. It doesn't always help, but it's your best bet, and this is exactly what this Kai'Sa art is doing. And because she saw them on the map right now, this is not a random push. She didn't push the tower earlier, and for good reason. No one was on the map, or no one was visible on the map, rather. But here she saw the enemy being in bot lane, and instead of just allowing them to take everything here for free, she at least retook mid lane tower, which is crucial. Again, mid lane tower difference is now equalized, which means blue team has at least the option to well, to make counterplay happen. Without mid lane tower being taken, this is just not possible. But now, the game's a lot more open. These bot lane towers, of course, they are quite nasty, but they're not as impactful as the mid lane tower. So actually, Kai'Sa's team, I don't want to say came out ahead here, but they certainly got what they needed to play the game going forward. Again, Kai'Sa's teammates not as thoughtful. Zed goes to the side lane just to die to Katarina again, and blue team now loses even more pressure. It's just a top lane tower, but still every single advantage you give the enemy will make it harder for you to win the game, even though mid lane towers are more important. Does Kha'Zix now follow suit? Oh goodness, I hope not. Anyway, Kai'Sa in the mid lane right now. And as long as she sees Katarina, she doesn't need to worry about her getting ambushed by Katarina. So showing herself there is almost safe, I want to say. And now with the finished Nash's Tooth, she also evolved her W. In a true AP Kai'Sa fashion, she can now spam this to get some much needed poke damage on the enemy. Oh wait, Katarina actually died there? So she was in blue team's jungle, but Kayle found her. Kayle level 12, also not too bad anymore, which is also a big deal why Kai'Sa needed to slow down the game. So hard scaling champions like Kayle can use that time to get their levels. And Kayle avoided lots of damage with her ultimates, and Katarina has nowhere to go. 1000 gold for Kayle, exactly what you need in the situation, but this would have never happened had Kai'Sa not slowed down the game. It's very important. Anyway, in the meantime, Kai'Sa is stuck in the river, goes a little too aggressive and gets chunked by Talon really hard, flashes the Malphite ult last second actually, and dodges Senna R. So, again, kind of sloppy decision making, even though we are looking at a challenger game, but this Kai'Sa making up for it with her micro, with her mouse and her keyboards, but not getting in a situation like this in the first place is of course much, much safer. Anyway, now we must start looking at the Dragon Pit, because Dragon is about to spawn, and I mean, as strong as red team are, blue team might still want to at least try to make something happen here. Red team is not actively taking Dragon quite yet, so Kai'Sa smartly pushes past river and then roams towards the, or into the jungle to, well, just keep red team busy, force them to show themselves. And, I mean, you do have a shrine, but you still don't really have vision on Dragon, so it's hard to tell what red team's up to, but blue team also can't approach. Just approaching there because you think you need to do something, yeah, would be a big mistake, because then they turn on you, and don't want to know how that's gonna end. Okay, Kha'Zix actually manages to steal, that's super important. Meanwhile, Kai'Sa is busy with Tristana in the mid lane. Yeah, this was her team starting to redeem itself, or redeem themselves. They... Ooh, crucial Sona ult, yeah. Again, Kai'Sa bought her teammates time, so they can catch back up, and now they are relevant too. And it starts to show. Kha'Zix stealing the dragon, Sona bailing out Kai'Sa against Tristana there. It's still a team game. Yes, 1v9 is kind of like the buzzword here, but you need to... The art of carrying in true 1v9 fashion is enabling your team to still be useful. It's not taking everything for yourself and, well, question mark pinging your teammates when they make mistakes. No, it's trying to make them, or put them in a situation where they can play better, even if they play terribly beforehand. You need to keep, you need to have trust, faith in them. Now again, same move, pushed past river, and instead of greeding for the tower, which would be terrible because all enemies are missing right now, yeah, Talon right there, she just recalls. Super important. Push past river, roam, not push past river, greed. It's such a common low elo mistake, and it makes such a big difference. In any case, Kai'Sa now working towards Ludens. Yeah, it's definitely Ludens. And not quite there yet, but she's on a good path. 6 kills. She mustn't die, by the way. If she dies, then that's a huge setback, because the enemy gets shut down, and while Kai'Sa, the strongest player on blue team, or on blue team's side, is off the map, red team can do all sorts of things, probably even take Baron. Speaking of which, they have no vision here. Yeah, checking with W, safe and sound. You don't want to face check, of course, but Kai'Sa's W gives vision, so you use that to try to get an idea of what red team's up to. Kha'Zix, unfortunately, overextended, gets caught yet again, and now with a jungler down... Oh, what? Just look at this crazy play. So red team is about to start Baron because they are 5 versus 4 now, and Kha'Zix, the smite person, is not even there to potentially steal the Baron. But Kai'Sa, mind of a beast, gets the W, presses Q auto, presses W, no, it's not, that's an auto attack. Ults after her to auto attack again to instantly kill Senna. So it's a 4v4 now, which makes the situation a lot more playable for blue team. And she keeps pressing W, in good AP Kai'Sa fashion. This control ward's kind of nasty, but clearing it is not easy for blue team right now because Katarina just sits there, stands there menacingly. Okay, they actually go for it. Crazy, they actually got it. Alright, that deals with a lot of pressure right now. Oh, there's a nasty situation. Kai'Sa is pushing, disregarding the fact Katarina and Talon are technically behind her, but they're going for her teammates, so Zed probably dies here, yep. There we go. But, I mean, Kai'Sa, again, used that time. She continuously saw Katarina and Talon on the minimap, so she knew they couldn't try to assassinate her, and she used that time to take the second mid lane tower. Again, taking objectives or getting the advantage wherever she can, as long as she doesn't get herself into trouble as well. These are exactly the plays you need to look out for when you are in a situation like this. If you can help it, you don't want to be on the same screen as the fed assassin. And this is exactly what Kai'Sa does. She stays away from Katarina whenever possible, and if she goes in, she makes sure to go out just as quickly so Katarina can't respond. Anyway, we have the finished Luden's Tempest, so W poke will hurt a lot more now. But what are they doing? They should try to set up vision on Baron here. Yeah, there's a very defensive control ward. Actually works because it's easier to defend in a position like this. Oh, Senna walks up again, she gets deleted. But this time Kai'Sa gets punished. This is exactly what you don't want to do. Again, the kill on Senna looked very juicy, but if you give Malphite an ultimate as a consequence, yeah, Senna's W triggered, there's nothing Kai'Sa can do at this point. Ultimate hits and Katarina and Talon have all the damage in the world to shred blue team to pieces. So the first major mistake, or the first mistake Kai'Sa made here that actually ended up getting punished. But at least, I mean, they might take Baron here, but as long as they don't crack open their base, there's still hope. And as we can see, they in fact use the time in which the most dangerous blue team member is dead. Okay, actually Kael's getting quite dangerous too at this point. Maybe there's a play there, but I doubt it. Red team is too strong. Yeah, they try to disrupt the Baron, but ultimately they... Wait, actually Red team is now a little bit shook in their confidence. They don't dare to go for Baron. Actually, that play was worth it. Okay, so trading Kha'Zix's life for Tristana's life deterred Red team from continuing with their play. Probably good for them, they played it safe, but again, a huge win for blue team, getting rid of the Baron pressure. And Kai'Sa now pushing the bot lane again. She has not finished an extra item, but she's working towards Zhonya's, I think, now. Push the wave past river and then roam. Always the same, always usually the best play you can make on AD carry. And it's even more important in this situation because this pressure indirectly gives them control over Dragon. And I'm quite curious if they dare to go in there or if they just look for a steal again. It's so risky, especially for Kai'Sa to show herself. If she doesn't react to the Malphite ulti, that's a lost team fight there, that's a clean ace. But okay, yeah, they don't dare to challenge. Red team just gets the Dragon. Kai'Sa pokes a little bit with her W, but ultimately, as I thought, trying to actively contest would be too risky. In any case, Baron is the next best objective. Red team are now like, they just let us take Dragon. They didn't contest. Maybe we can do the same with Baron. Maybe they won't dare to challenge us there either. And chances are they are correct. But, okay, there we go. Again, crucial flash on the Malphite ulti. This is exactly what Malphite needs. Land ult on Kai'Sa. But Kai'Sa, knowing this, holds her flash for this crucial skill shot. And now they can still fight. Again, ult cooldown from Malphite is lower than flash cooldown from Kai'Sa. But at least Malph ult is on the table for a little, off the table for a little bit. And wait, why are Red team retreating like this? Yes, they have minions in their base, but they should never let blue team take Baron here. So big mistake from Red team, unless there's something I just didn't get there. Oh goodness, yeah, they're so disorganized. Malphite's not even there. Malphite ulti on cooldown, so he's not even that useful if he was there. Huge team fight. Yeah, so I guess that's the idea here. Kayle is rather strong, Kai'Sa is super strong, and without Malphite ulti, red team is arguably just down a player. Even if Malphite's there, what's he gonna do? Q somebody? Kyle, I don't know. Kayle? Probably Kayle, because Mikael the Archangel. Kayle goes in aggressively with her ulti. I'm not sure about this. You just got a free Baron, so you should probably just retreat. But red team kinda gets greedy here, right? Yeah, they took so much damage. Goodness, Kai'Sa doesn't even need to do anything here because her team got so strong in the meantime. Again, all the time Kai'Sa bought earlier, now paying off. She gets a Q off here. Katarina enters Zhonya's stasis, but she will go down, feeding another 1000 gold to blue team. And Senna goes down as well, being the squishy support champion that she is. But again, hitting a Katarina, even from out of a stasis, is quite difficult with a skill shot, so Kai'Sa's W misses, but doesn't matter. The rest of blue team can deal the last points of damage to finish her off, and that's a huge W for blue team. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what do you take next? Because enemies off the map means you should always try to go for an objective, because when the enemy are dead, they cannot try to defend that objective, so it's essentially free. And this tower looks... Okay, Kai'Sa just bombing the Malphite with her own ultimates, almost looking like she has a Malphite ultimate herself. And the combo is quite simple. You hit Malphite with that first W, getting your reset, getting your passive stacks on him, so W's almost off cooldown again, it's just a 2 seconds cooldown. Of course, we're watching in slow-mo, so this is like 8 seconds for us in real time. But as soon as it's ready, you fire the extra W, triggering your passive fully, and another Luden's proc, getting him super low. It is risky, but Kai'Sa now just goes for it. W is ready again. She ults in, Wing or having the W animation play mid-flight. So even though Malphite ults her right back, no chance. He just dies. And after this, bot lane tower falls, but Katarina is respawning in 5. Crucial respawn timer. Keeping that in mind, they recall instantly instead of greeting for the inhibitor. Well played. You don't want to overstay there, because that's, well, a very common way of throwing a game that you are currently turning around. So Kai'Sa now working towards Zhonya's, as we see. Not opting for the stopwatch here, but instead for the other components, just for more AP, for more W poke, I guess. And, oh, actually, okay, she just cleared the camp, and now she should have the gold to finish the full item, right? Or why'd she do that? Yeah, she just waits in base now, and there she goes. She has her full Zhonya's Hourglass. So, with Flash, it's kind of shaky against Malphite, since, again, your Flash cooldown is way longer than his ult cooldown. But with Zhonya's, you get an extra tool to try and, well, react to this ult and nullify it. Huge W, Senna actually taking 50%. Okay, but this time the R-W combo, the same move with which she finished off Malphite earlier, but Malphite himself now body blocking for Senna, so Senna lives. Ult is kind of a big cooldown for Kai'Sa, but she has so much CDR in her build now, it shouldn't be too big of an issue. And she can always just stay at range and spam W to create pressure. And at this point, I mean, they're right now just prowling the jungle for whatever reason. They should really instead just be looking to take their Baron minions and push them, because that's what they're there for. Baron gives 40 AD, 40 AP, so not really the best, or the highest amount of combat stats. But the buffed minions, they truly make a difference. Or in any case, it has Baron buff. No, it hasn't expired. Kha'Zix just didn't have it. Kai'Sa and... So, oh, wait, it has expired. Okay, never mind. Baron buff off the table. So pushing is not as trivial as it was before. Actually, red team's still ahead in terms of kills. Oh, that's a nasty flank, isn't it? Hang on. Okay, Kai'Sa kiting upwards. Very good, but Sona is just dead here. Yeah, that's big. Anyway, we still have Kyle, we have Kai'Sa. Oh, look at this burst damage coming from Kai'Sa. Sniping people with W left and right as well. Yo, she hits every single one of these. An ult ready again, ready for this fight. And Kai'Sa with a clean ace, actually. And this was huge. Red team was about to flank blue team to just finish the game. But Kai'Sa with a reversal, and they just surrender. Anyway, this shows you how important macro and keeping a cool head truly is. If you want to know more about macro play as AD carry, then click the link on your screen right there.